What do you think he looks like?
But since I was born in his likeness and in his image, he probably looks somewhat like me or something.
Okay, so what do you say? What do you think he look like? So now, what I'm going to do is we're going to read in the Bible. So I'm going to have you look at two pictures. I want you to look at these pictures here, and I want you to look at that picture right there. Okay, so let's get the Bible.
That one, I don't think this is look like Christ.
You don't think that look like Christ? Okay, so now let's read it. How you doing today? How you doing today, sisters? How y'all doing? So I'm Officer Mendel. I'm with IUic, DC, and we're here down in St. Lucia working with Soldier Roy here. He's over our congregation in St. Lucia. So basically what we're doing is we're showing our people who we are according to the Bible. So I got a question for you. Who's this guy right here? Who's that? Who's that?
These guys?
Yeah, who is it?
Just images.
Just images of who?
Christ.
Of Christ. So does Christ look like that?
No.
What does he look like? What do you think he looks like?
Pardon?
What do you think he looks like?
But since I was born in his likeness and in his image, he probably looks somewhat like me or something.
Okay, so what do you say? What do you think he look like? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to read in the Bible. So I'm going to have you look at two pictures. I want you to look at these pictures here, and I want you to look at that picture right there. Okay, so let's get the Bible.
That one, I don't think this is look like Christ.
You don't think that look like Christ? Okay, so now let's read it.
Revelation 1 verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So this is a revealing of Jesus Christ. So now we're going to see what Jesus Christ looked like. Jump down.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So it says Jesus Christ's hair and his hairs were like white like wool. So now let's look at these images. So now we're looking at these images. Which one of these images has white woolly hair? Who you say, brother? Who got white woolly hair? Right here. So that's one right here. Read.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Because it's prophesied in Genesis 49 and 12 that the whites of his eyes will be red because he drinks wine. So now when we look at these images, which one of these has reddish eyes? You see that right there? You see that? You see the whites of his eyes red? You see that, right? You see that, right? Keep reading.
Verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass.
So you see your feet right there? Your feet are like fine brass, right? So it says his feet like fine brass.
As if they burned in a furnace.
Meaning that he was a dark-skinned man. You understand that? So it says his feet are the color of brass, but like it burned in the furnace, meaning that Christ was very dark-skinned. So this right here, so when we look at what the description that we read, which one depicts Christ better?
That one?
This one right here? What do you say, sis? Based on the description that we're reading, let's get another description out of Daniel 10. 10 and 5. So this is another description of Christ. Daniel 10.
This is Daniel chapter 10 verse 5.
Watch this right here. This is the prophet Daniel. How you doing today, bro? Yes, sir. So right now we're going over these two images right here. So I asked the young ladies, who is this right here? Who's that? Who is that? Who's this? Any one of these images, they're all the same. They're European Jesus. Okay, so now we're reading the description of Jesus, and we made a comparison between the description in the Bible and these two images right here. So let's recap it. Let's go back to Revelation 14 again. 1 and 14. So we're going to recap it, then we're going to go back to Daniel's. And then we're going to explain the importance of knowing what Christ looks like. Okay?
This is Revelation chapter 1 verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So the revealing of Jesus Christ. Let's go to verse 14.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So it's like, you know, that Christ had, when John saw him, he had white woolly hair. So now we're looking at these two depictions here. Which one is lining up with what we're reading right here? This one over here. Okay, keep reading.
As white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Because in Genesis 49 and 12, it's prophesied that the whites of his eyes will be red from drinking wine. So now let's keep reading.
Verse 15. And his feet like unto fine brass.
So, because he had a garment down to the foot. When he looked down at his feet, it said his feet looked like fine brass.
as if they burned in a furnace.
Like it was burned in a furnace, so meaning that he was very dark complexion. So when we look at, now we're not saying that his facial features and everything look like that. That's just a depiction of what he could have looked like. You understand that? Based on the description that we read here. So now we're going to go to the Old Testament because the prophet Daniel also saw Christ in the spirit. So let's see what he saw.
Daniel 10 verse 5. Then I lift up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body also was like the beryl.
So he had a green garment on with a gold buckle, a gold belt. Keep reading.
And his face as the appearance of lightning.
Keep reading.
And his eyes as lamps of fire.
That's what we just read in Revelations 1 and 14. His eyes as lamps of fire. Keep reading.
And his arms.
Okay, his arms.
And his feet.
And his feet.
Like in color.
Like in color. So we're dealing with color.
To polished brass.
Brass that was polished or burned in a furnace. Meaning that Daniel saw the same description. So now, what we're going to do, we're going to go back. Let's go to Song of Solomon 1 and 5. So now, just to get an understanding of where we're going here, what we're doing is we're talking about who are the people of the Bible? What do they look like? What does that have to do with the people in St. Luke? We're going to cover that. Just give me a couple minutes. Read that.
Song of Solomon 1 verse 5. I am black.
This is King Solomon. He said he's what?
I am black, but comely.
He's saying he's black and handsome. So now, if you Google King Solomon on your phone, what image is going to come up? It's going to be a white image. Yeah, I got you. No, that's good. So now, so what does that mean for you? Go to Matthew 24 and 5. Now I want to show you why that's important to know. Because this is what Christ warned us about. So do y'all ladies go to church? You go to church? Okay. Okay, so yeah, so listen. So now watch this right here.
Matthew 24 verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
So that's what happened here. You had this guy come down and say this was Christ. So everybody said he's Christ and deceived many. So how did he deceive many? What kind of church do you go to? Pentecostal, okay. So what day do you go to church on? Sunday. Okay, so when we read the Bible, what day did Christ go to church on? Okay, no problem. I appreciate you coming through.
I would love to spend an afternoon.
Yes, sir. You got our contact information on the flyer. You got a flyer? Yes, sir. So now, because remember, we just read it's going to be Christ. It's going to be people saying they Christ and are not. You understand that? I got to make this point. So read that right there.
Luke 24 verse 5. For many shall come in my name.
So this is Matthew.
Yes, Matthew 24 verse 5.
This is important for you to hear.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
So what does that mean? So like you say you are Pentecostal, you go to church on Sunday. So if we are followers of Christ, that means that we're going to do the things that Christ did. So where can I read in the Bible that Christ went to church on Sunday? Oh yeah, let me get Pentecostal because you know that yesterday was the day of Pentecost. And we celebrated that. So you know that, so just like
what you said about Pentecost?
That's a holiday that we're supposed to celebrate in the Bible. So we celebrated that yesterday.
Oh, you want to celebrate Pentecost yesterday?
Yeah, because that's a holiday in the Bible. See, like what holidays do y'all celebrate?
What holiday?
What holidays do you celebrate? No, I'm saying what holidays do you celebrate? Holidays. Like what are your holidays? And what else? So what do y'all celebrate? That's what I'm asking.
Pentecost, that's what I told
And what else?
We had it last.
Do y'all celebrate Christmas and Easter and stuff like that?
Yes. We celebrate.
Yeah, I mean after before Christmas, you stay home and
Okay.
eat and
So
eat
now the
family.
Bible, so what we read in Matthew 24 and 5, it says false Christ. That's a holiday that the false Christ brought in. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell us to celebrate Christmas.
The scriptures say, where there is no vision, the people perish.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV.
Do you know history?
I'm going to show you and prove to you that the Israelites are black, were always black.
Dance floor time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, wine.
Put on the armor, the procedure complete. Me nah go back, nah retreat. All traitors, every Jezebel must get delete. Me no sleep on a demon, me keep a full clip. Conspire me downfall, cause them want see me slip. Stay close to the real ones, we seal off and legit. Cause I gotta use them to keep your soul from the pit. This a war life, I saw the damn thing.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord. His word